Here we go. Hello and welcome to Tips to Improve Your Focus workshop. Fantastic to have you with us here. Looking forward to sharing all sorts of tips in relation to being more focused today. Share with us as well. Where are you joining us from and what are you looking forward to learning today? Share that in the chat. We've got a heap of tips I'm going to share with you. So I'll talk a bit at the start, and then hopefully if we've got a bit of time, we'll come back and take any questions, but use the chat as well to ask questions as we go through the session. We have pressed record and we will be sharing this session's recording on YouTube and with the other people that registered that were unable to make it today. So just be mindful of that. So you're welcome to have your cameras on or off or whatever you want to do, but just letting you know that that's what's happening with the recording afterwards. And what do you find? Share in the chat also, what do you find challenging about staying focused? We'd love to hear your thoughts, and that will help us going along today so that we are staying on track. Couple of people have introduced themselves. Thank you, Doreen. She is one of my hands-on organisers here in Melbourne. Thanks, Doreen. My amazing virtual assistant, Mary Lou, joining from the Philippines. Jade is calling in from Florida. Learn to stay focused to increase productivity. I love that. And Car says, noticing that my ability to focus is not as, is that a kitty? Ah, yes, I get it. That's a shiny object. There's a shiny object over there, a cute little kitty. I get it. I love that one. Thank you for that. That made me giggle. And we do get sidetracked by those, cheeky little videos and whatever it might be, a shiny object. So we will talk about that. Thank you, Car. That was good. Leslie is in Sydney, hoping to get some tips to help me stop procrastinating. That's a big one. Let's do that. And I've had a couple of things needed to be done, but she's a champion procrastinator. I love it. Yes, let's do it. Let's get stuck in. So the business space and time, I was going to say my business, but it's really our business these days with the group of us servicing our clients. Space and time is all about helping people declutter their space and their time. So we make conscious choices about how we use our space and time, create systems to improve our daily lives, just so that those important things get done without any effort. And also keeping an eye on those sorts of changes that you're trying to make and where are you heading in your future? What are those important things? And we're going to talk about those in a second so that we can keep on moving towards them going forwards. Here I am. I'm Julie Cliff. I'm a professional organizer and declutter coach. Before starting my business almost 9 years ago, I was an executive assistant and administrator for 20 years. Always enjoyed helping people get and stay organized in the office environment, and then switched it to helping people in their homes with similar techniques and procedures and systems and habits. When I found the group of professional organisers that we meet with monthly here in Melbourne, now I have a team of girls, hands-on decluttering, married to my husband, and the two boys who are actually home today. They've got a student-free day because they've got parent-teacher meetings later on today, so they're in bed. But very lucky am I to be doing all these things as a professional organizer and declutter coach. So here we are, tips to improve your focus. And thank you for sharing how you came to be here and what you're looking to learn today. And why did I want to present this workshop? Well, actually, I'm not naturally an organised person. When I was young, I was quite a clever kid, running around 100 miles an hour, doing things as quick as I could. Couldn't be a perfectionist like my mum, so I would just do it quickly and move on, and consequently ended up with a nickname, particularly from my dad, I think, called Rough as Guts Mick, which means I'm just rough, just fast. And Mick and Mickey were my nickname without the rough as guts bit in front of it, because Mickey is a baby rabbit and I was a very small, still not that big, So I had this nickname. So as I'm saying, I'm not naturally organized. I've had to teach myself these things. I'd rather stuff something in the linen press and then, and get on with the next thing. But then the next time I come to the linen press, it's in such a mess, it's overwhelming. So I taught myself, okay, let's take 10 more seconds, not even that, to fold the towel neatly and put it with the other towel so I know where it is next time. So taught myself a lot of these things that we'll be discussing today. And I've got that book there and I've got it here because one of the things that I really have taught myself to do more recently is to sit and read. And focus is a very important thing to do. Again, I didn't read as a kid. I was jumping on the trampoline, running around the farm, doing all sorts of whatevers when you're a young person. Didn't find reading very interesting, but I've learnt just by reading with the kids every night, every weeknight, 20 minutes sitting and reading with them has taught me to be a better reader myself. And now I'm reading all of Leanne Moriarty's books. She's an Australian author, but this was one of the first ones that I ever sat and read. I've read a lot of books. They're behind me. You can see them. Business books, positive mindset books, all of those sorts of things to help you be a cool person, but just to sit and read and turn your brain off and have a bit of fun. So again, I'll be sharing some of those techniques that I used to teach myself to sit and do that. And many of my clients tell me, just as Kel, I think it was, that said about, oh, there's a fluffy bunny. A lot of them or fluffy kitty cat. A lot of people are being distracted and finding it hard to get things done. So that's what we're looking at today. Something that I want to say, and I'll say it a number of times today, is that we only have 168 hours in the week. So we need to be a little focused to get up, to get anything done. We need to sleep at that at some time during that 168 hours. We need to feed the kids, we need to feed ourselves, we need to go to work, we need to run our business. So there's all of these things that we could be doing as well as watching those funny videos. So let's see if we can find some focus to move through some of those things. So I'm just looking at just looking back at the comments as well. Very nice. Thank you everyone for commenting there. Looking to look at these tips, practical strategies and techniques to stay focused. These sorts of tips are so important, whether you're running your own business, whether you're a student, whether you're a retired person with no particular deadlines. I think that can be really difficult. We were talking about procrastination before. It can be so hard if you don't have somebody telling you to get up and go to work. Procrastination is a real thing. So let's talk about some strategies there, and let's unlock your full potential with keeping focus today. So a good place to start is to create a focus board of projects. And Mary Lou, I didn't ask you ahead of time, but would you mind finding a link to YouTube to one of our focus board workshops we recorded and share it with people? They might like to have a look at that recording. It's only an hour or maybe a bit more on one of the recorded ones to get clear on those important projects that you're working on. This is mine from a little while ago on the left. It's got 12 things on it. I think that's too many things even in 1 year to try and accomplish. But it's a really fun and cool thing to do. It's a little bit like a vision board, but it's a bit more quicker to put together. You get your scissors out, you draw a circle, you cut it out. Oh, someone's talking to me. You get it on, get it, clear and looking very close at those important things to be focusing on. As I said, was mine from a while ago. I do have a smaller one now. This is June and July. I need to update it. So I've just whittled it down to 6 blogs for June and July, looking at these workshops, some different finance things that I want to do. I need to write a chapter of my book that I'm writing, look at my team with their insurance and Carer Gateway, which is one of the places that we get some of our work from, growing the business and networking. So again, that's still a lot of things to work on. But at least if you've got a smaller amount of projects written down, then you can say no to anything else that comes up. Someone asks you to do something, or something shiny turns up over here on the right. I've always wanted to start a podcast. Let's do it. Maybe now is not the right time. So it's great to have a small amount of projects to focus on in the first place, and then you can start saying no. And as that last dot point there, it says we can do it all. We want to do all these things, but just can't do it all at the one time. So we might have to say no, I'll do that next year, or I don't need to do it at all. But I think the focus board recording is a good place to have a look at. Doreen said she's got her focus board beside her, and it serves as a great reminder. Thanks, Mary Lou. She's just put the focus board link on YouTube. So I highly recommend you having a look at that, and just to give you some parameters, because that's part of the distraction. The world is absolutely endless with possibilities of what we can do. We're so amazing, so lucky to have the world at our fingertips, but sometimes that can be a big, scary thing as well. Let's just get a few things written down that we can do and focus on them. Carr says it's getting harder to read when even teach in bullet points. Yeah, so it's harder and harder to keep that focus. I understand that. Thank you for sharing. So highly recommend, let's have a look at putting a focus board together to start with. And I mentioned before that sometimes, some seasons, some times of your life are busier and messier than others. One of my pet hates as a parent is putting shoes on kids. Thankfully, I don't need to put shoes on my 13-year-old and 17-year-old anymore, but making them sit down. And of course, they did learn to put them on themselves pretty quickly because I hated it so much. But, squeeze their toes in, tie up the laces. As I say, sometimes in your life are busier than others. So let's have a think about what time in your life, what season in your life are you in? Are you a carer for someone? Do you have a disability yourself? Are you working 6 jobs and, looking after your elderly parents? Be kind to yourself and just be mindful of how much time all these things take. And again, we only have 168 hours a week. Seek help wherever you can and make being focused a priority. It being organized, being on time, being focused doesn't just happen. It's something for us to practice and make it top of mind and an important thing to do. I want to jump in now. I just sort of wanted to set it up with a few things like that, including being, focused on just a few small projects. Here are a few of the tips that I wanted to share. And the first one is to prioritize tasks for enhanced focus. And that previous board was really a good way to help you prioritize your tasks. And then when you've got them lined up, you've got your 3, 4, 5, 6 tasks that you're working on, then break them down into more manageable steps so that you're just doing little bits every day. Again, at busy times, you might have to be doing a lot. You might have to be staying up late or getting up early to do the extra work. But if we're just looking at those really important tasks, it makes it so much easier to prioritize because we know that is the important thing. And the art of task prioritization and time management is so important. Again, this doesn't just happen. We want to put it in the diary. We want to have a good to-do list and then get that time in the diary to actually work on those important tasks. And then we want to make it a part of your daily life. So we're going to start with some small changes for big impact. You might just have 10 minutes a day. I mentioned before how, I learned to read with a lot more focus just by doing 20 minutes each night with my boys, all the way from when they were very small up until just in the last 6 months when Charlie's decided he doesn't want to hang out and do reading with his mum anymore, which is fair enough. So I go and do my own reading. But that regular time, I literally had a reminder go off at 8:45 to go and do reading with the kids. So I still have that now, but it's go and do reading for myself. So I go and get ready for bed, put my pajamas on, hop into bed, and I sit and read for about half an hour now. It's even longer because I've learnt to be able to sit and do that. So how can you build into your day some little habits like that? Is it something that you do first thing you get up in the morning? Is it something you sit down at your lunch break? Even if it might be sitting down and doing the crossword or something like that, keeping your mind focused, get that crossword done or part of. Some of these things that can get the brain going, but keep them sharp and keep them focused. And it's consistent as well. And having that continuous improvement mindset that you're going to get better. It won't just come easily. We're going to talk about mindfulness and meditation shortly, but they do call it a meditation practice for a reason. All of these daily practices are things that we need to spend time on and have them as important parts of the day. How can you tee up an existing habit with a new habit? Take out the bins each Sunday night. Can you tag on something like that? Like I wash the bins out each night, or just give them, not each night, each week, and give them a wipe out. What are some of these things that we can do to increase our focus to help us with our continuous improvement on our focus? Next one is to embrace single tasking. So multitasking doesn't work. They've discovered with different studies that we don't actually multitask. People who think they're multitaskers are just quickly changing from one task to the other. And our poor old brains don't like that. They take quite a few minutes. Again, studies say it can be up to half an hour to switch between tasks. So it's like, oh, bing, I've got a new email. I'll go and have a look at the email. Have a look at that, come back to your piece of work that you're supposed to be doing, and it takes you another 15 minutes to get back into it. So let's focus on one task at a time, whether it might be checking email. That can be a task, but try not to get sidetracked in other things that are related to checking email. And we'll come back to notifications in a second, but really have that undivided attention on that one task that you're working on, because trying to do more than one thing at once, poor old brains go into overload. We mentioned a little bit about habits just before. We want to put these habits and these important things into our daily routine and train our mind to be focused. So literally, as I mentioned before, put it in the diary. Get a weekly planner like this one that is available on our website, and plot out your day. When are you going to call that person back? When are you going to work on that blog you're writing? When are you going to work on your craft or your knitting or whatever you're doing, or your painting that you're doing at the moment? Put it in the diary, and then design your day around your productivity. You might be a morning person like me, so you're very productive in the morning, but not so good after 8 o'clock at night. My brain has gone into wind down mode. And see if you can get some balance into your routine with work, rest, and leisure. We'll talk a little bit more about planning breaks shortly, but highly recommend a weekly planner. And use a Google Calendar, however you want to work out your week, so that you can get those important projects in there and really be able to have a nice flow to your week rather than, running around like a headless chook. Don't forget to ask any questions as we're going along. You can unmute yourself or pop it in the chat. There are a lot of different techniques here. You might only choose one of them or two of them. And again, the recording is going to be available. So I highly recommend you come back and rewatch it afterwards and find another couple of tips that might be helpful for you. So you don't have to do all of these things. These are just a number of different ways that we can improve our focus. This one's a really important one to minimize digital distractions. As I mentioned before, started the business 9 years ago, so it wouldn't have been long after that I first created our Facebook page. And I remember that one of the very first posts I put on there was turn off all notifications. Different depending on the type of work you're doing. Maybe you're in customer service and you need to know when you've got a new email or a new message of some sort. But generally, if we're trying to be single tasking, as we're talking about on the previous slide, turn off everything else. Move those kittens away, those fluffy kittens that are distracting us. Schedule some time for looking at Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all the rest of it. Schedule some time for that later on. But when you're trying to do some focused work, turn those notifications off. You know, you can change what notifications pop up. I do have a little, red disc on my messages and Messenger and the school app. But all the rest of them I've turned off. I couldn't care how many emails I have. Who needs a little red bubble beside their mailbox? Mine's down the bottom, as you can see, it's turned off. No, I don't care. Who needs a little red bubble to say they've got 27,000 unread emails? You don't need to know that. Turn it off. You can go into settings and turn off those notifications. Turn off things that are going to go bing to distract you. Again, different circumstances, you might need to know that your kids are ringing and all of those things, but highly recommend turn it all off, because it's just too easy to go, oh, who's that's messaging me? I'll get back to them. And really have a good go at creating a distraction-free digital workspace. And you can do that on your phone, you can do that on your watch, set no notification time as well, and also on your computer. You don't have to have that little pop-up that tells you every time an email comes in. You can turn that all off. Highly recommend it so you can stay focused. I mentioned mindfulness and meditation before, and that it is, in particular in relation to meditation, it really is a practice. And mindfulness is about heightening our focus and helping us just stay in one particular spot. So I'm being mindful as well. I'm choosing right now to present this presentation. I haven't turned off all of my notifications, but that probably would be a good thing to do in the middle of important work like this, and being able to stay on task, stay mindful, be in the moment, be in the present time, and have practicing times for that. Again, whether it's something you do as soon as you get up in the morning, something at night, particularly if you're going to do meditation. But mindfulness is really just being aware of where you are right now and what are you working on right now. It's not looking into the future and worrying about what's coming up. It's thinking about, I'm doing this presentation right now, and not being worried about what's coming up or what's already happened in the day. So highly recommend that mindful state of being right here, right now. And of course, there's so many different resources on YouTube and everywhere to be more mindful and being able to develop that awareness. Just let me check the chat. Bridget, thank you. She's from Sydney. She wants to refocus her attention when it invariably drifts away. Beautiful. And that's a perfect segue for that mindfulness that we just mentioned, and those meditation practices. We notice, oh, I'm thinking about Thursday week when I'm supposed to be here writing this report for school or whatever we're doing, and just bring that attention back and being right here, right now. All right. And then, it's not all about getting more done. It's really about getting the right things done. And we were talking about that right at the start today, about getting that focus board done, a few projects to work on, and then to be able to schedule some strategic breaks during the day. That last dot point there talks about the Pomodoro technique, which is putting on your timer on your watch, on your phone. There is actually a Pomodoro website. You can go and it'll put a timer on for you for 25 minutes. You sit down, you do some work. Sometimes 25 minutes seems like a long time. And then you take a break. You plan these strategic breaks, take a 10-minute break, come back, put the timer on again. And then as you get into your day and into using this technique, those 20 minutes, 25 minutes will fly by. But highly recommend breaking your day up with these strategic breaks. I haven't done it so much lately because I'm out with clients a lot, but when I am sometimes at home doing a lot of writing for the website or whatever it might be, although Mary Lou does a lot of that for us now, thankfully, I try and just work all day, and you end up really exhausted by the end of it. But using these strategic breaks, you can keep going for a long time, get as much done, but not feel so washed out at the end of it. So have a go and look up the Pomodoro technique and look up the website, or just use your timer on your phone or your watch and use these strategic breaks. Get up, have a bit of a, move around, walk around the block, 10-minute break, and get back into your work to help you with your focus. And again, bearing in mind that we are working on those special tasks that we spoke about right at the start that we put on our focus board. So trying to keep away all the other distractions and being, laser-like focus, as it says on that bottom point there. And then, of course, we need to nourish our body and our mind as well. It really does make a big difference as to what we put into our bodies, as to how we feel, the energy that we have, and how we're able to function on a day-to-day basis, and that focus, the mental clarity. So make sure you're drinking enough water throughout the day. Again, let's make that a part of our daily routine. How can we make that as a part of something that just happens? I've got a 2-litre plastic jug that I fill up every morning, and I take 2 water bottles with me during the day. Make sure I drink that 2 litres. In the summer, it might be more than that, but at least the 2 litres during the day. And as I say, that is a part of my daily routine. It's something that just happens because I've made it easily to be a part of my day. Again, when we're talking about balanced diet as well, for brain healthy foods, sugary foods just make us go a bit crazy. They give us a foggy brain. I don't exactly know what the science is, but I'm sure someone could tell you if you wanted to look it up. ChatGPT would be able to tell you, I'm sure. But all of those foods that we're told to eat in moderation really do make a difference to our focus and our mental clarity. So drink lots of water, eat whole foods, fruits and vegetables as much as you can to help nourish your body and your mind, to help with your focus. It really does make a big difference. Incorporate regular exercise for sharper focus. Exercise does have positive impact on our focus and our cognitive performance. It helps you right there at the time. It's a bit like a meditation practice, I often find, with exercise. If you've seen my posts in the morning on Facebook, me jumping around, having a lot of fun, doing aerobics, sort of like 80s style aerobics and different dance routines in the morning, just watching YouTube. It's fun. It gets endorphins going. It doesn't have to be a real high tempo. I've got some workouts for seniors that I do in the mornings if I'm not really feeling like it. but you really do feel like you've achieved something and have sharper focus when you get some exercise into your day. As I said about those endorphins, and helps you stay motivated, and just making it part of your daily routine, whether it's first thing in the morning or on your lunch break or just before you're winding down, although be a little bit careful as to what you're doing. It might be more like a Tai Chi or something like that, or yoga to wind down at night. Don't go for a run. I think you'd probably be buzzing and find it hard to sleep. But again, really trying to make it a part of your daily routine. It just happens. It's not something to think about, oh, will I do it today or won't I? Try and get some regular exercise or regular movement into your day to help you with your focus. Doreen says, another tip for those like me who focus better on certain tasks when they are accountable. Yeah, find an accountability buddy, create an arrangement with a friend, be accountable to each other, and set your own parameters and be accountable. I love that one, Doreen. It's an awesome one to help with that procrastination that we were talking about earlier as well. If somebody knows that you have said, I'm going to get this project done by 5 o'clock today, you'll have a lot bigger chance of getting that done rather than just promise it to yourself. So yeah, thank you for sharing that one. All right, so let's move on to the idea of having clear goals and motivation to help with your concentration. We talked about and set up the focus board right at the start of the session. So that can really be helpful for those goals and moving forwards to help reduce the overwhelm. We know what we're doing. We've had a good think about it. We don't need to be distracted by those shiny objects. And then we can, really break the task down into smaller pieces and be laser focused on those goals. Because it can be really difficult if you don't know what you're doing. Again, with that procrastination, we can be really distracted if we don't know which way we're going. Oh, will I work on this one today? Or that can be really distracting and not so productive. Again, we're not talking about getting everything done and getting it done faster and more. We want to get the right things done at the right pace for you. So having those clear goals is a good one. Car says, I struggle with the temptation to multitask so that I'm more productive, even though I know there's no thing exactly. If you really do feel like you're doing more if you are multitasking, but yeah, all the research will say stay on the one task, get that one done, and then move on to the next one. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Oh, and here's a really important one as well that goes along with the health and well-being, is to get good sleep. Have a good sleep routine. I mentioned that I have an alarm that goes off each night to go to bed. I'm not sure how many people do it, but I do highly recommend it, because otherwise, next thing you know, you're through 4 seasons of Game of Thrones and you're on to the 5th and it's 3 o'clock in the morning. So be diligent as to when your bedtime is and when you're getting up in the morning. You can use that weekly planner that we showed before and even put those times in. What time's the alarm going to go off? Get out of bed straight away. Don't decide, am I going to sleep in? Am I going to snooze for 5 minutes? Just get up. It's a much easier decision to make, and create a sleep-friendly environment as well. Make sure your room's not too hot. They always say that cooler conditions are better to sleep in, but depending on your own body as well, or any other medical conditions you may have. And practice relaxation techniques before bedtime. Reading works for me most of the time, but when I read another one of Leanne Moriarty's books called Apples Never Fall, the mum went missing. And so all the time I was trying to go to sleeping after I was reading that, I was trying to figure out where's the mum. And so that was quite interesting. So just think about those things. What are you doing just before you're going to bed? All the research says get off your phone. That white light that is coming into your face is keeping you awake. So whether it's some yoga, some meditation. Really plan that into your bedtime routine. We're doing very good for time. I was just checking how we're going there. And have a think as well, talking about that whole bedtime routine. When are you going to put your pajamas on? I come home every afternoon and I love my uniform and I will wear it all the time and it's very comfortable, but I do deliberately change out of it as soon as I get home, just so that mental shift between work and home. Take my makeup off, because some of those things can be difficult to do when you're tired, you can't be bothered. So you go to bed with your makeup on, it's not good for your skin. Don't put on any makeup in the first place is probably the easiest thing to do, a lot of people would say. But think about what's that routine and how early can you do it? The earlier you do a lot of these things, the better, so that you're just ready to jump into bed and have a good sleep. So have a bit of an idea and a bit of think about that whole bedtime routine. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you going to bed too late? Are you getting up too late? Are you late for work? Let's see if you can switch the, what time you're going to bed and what time you're getting up. Just tweak it a little bit. But it's all helpful for your focus and your clarity. Can't sleep. Yep. Can't focus without sleep. I'm going to whiz through these summaries. Actually, maybe as we're going through the summaries, we can have a chat about the different things. You can unmute yourself. We talked originally about the power of daily practice and how these habits can shape how we go about achieving our goals. So that's, as I've said through the whole session today, we can really make a big difference if we know what we're heading towards. We've got some real focus and clarity on what we're trying to do and doing those important tasks. Prioritize tasks for enhanced focus. Learn to identify crucial tasks and break them down for better concentration and efficiency. Feel free to take yourself off mute or drop yourself a note in the chat. How do you keep a track of your tasks that you're working on? Is it in your email? Is it in a separate app? Is it a notebook? Share with me now in the chat, or as I said, take yourself off mute and let me know, how do you go about keeping track of all the things that you need to do in a day? Be interested to hear what you say. Thank you, Doreen. She says a daily planner and Google Calendar. Yep, I think that's an awesome idea, to plot it all out and you can see what you've got to do, what time you're going to make that call, what time you're doing whatever it might be. It's a great way to just get it in the calendar. Hard copy planner, yeah, and helping to get things done is to write it by hand. Yeah, thank you. Leslie says at work, it's through Outlook emails and a calendar. Yep. Nice. Thank you, Leslie. Appreciate that. So it's just important to have our to-do somewhere, isn't it? Sometimes I'll go along and I won't even have a to-do list. I usually figure out what's important and things just come to the surface. Sometimes you go, oh heck, I should have done that a bit earlier. And now that our team is growing, I'm trying to keep a note a little bit more, but it really depends on where you're at. Car says she uses Excel. She's tried different project tools, but this is the simplest and most flexible. I think that's a good one, Car, to be able to keep that all in the one spot. Mary Lou and I use an Excel spreadsheet for all our to-dos, or all the things that I'm asking Mary Lou to do that I used to do myself, and now I'm so lucky to have her doing all of those things for me. But we use an Excel spreadsheet, and we can put links to other Google products. We actually use Google Sheets. Actually, it's not Excel. Susan says she has to write it down on paper, otherwise I don't get it done. Too many distractions. And Google Calendar. Yeah, Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for sharing. And a few of us spoke about embracing the single tasking and how difficult that can be. So, really have a good go at bidding farewell to multitasking and focus on one task at a time. And to maximize productivity. Leslie also says at home, it's putting the big rock items in the Excel planner and then less priority items around it. Yeah, so get those important jobs in the calendar or in your Excel document. Get those big rocks in there. You would have heard of that analogy of having a glass beaker, putting the big rocks in first, then the little pebbles in there, and then the sand to get it all to fit in there for the day. If you try and do the reverse, you won't get everything done. But again, those big rocks are important. We're not trying to do more. We're not trying to get it done quicker. I think it's really, doing those important things at the pace we want to work. And Mary Lou says, yes, the spreadsheet is very helpful. We'd be lost without it, wouldn't we, Mary Lou, to know what we're doing each and every day. It's a great way to track the work that we're doing. Let's keep moving through our summary. We also spoke about a structured daily routine. Things can move around in your daily routine. On Sundays, I've got a bundle of things in my calendar to do, but they often move around during the day. So I've got I usually go for a run on a Sunday, bake something. I've got wash the car this fortnight. I'll get one of the kids to do that. Clean the shower. Charlie needs to do the sweeping. And I look at the week ahead that we've got coming up with our clients. So that's what it looks like there in my calendar. But I can move them around as to what time it gets done. But I really do like to try and do those things on a Sunday. So it's structured, but it's a little bit fluid as well. So have a bit of a go at putting those important tasks straight in the diary. Who liked the idea of minimizing digital distractions? Does anybody use an app to turn off your Wi-Fi or a key, like a safe, what do they call it? A K safe, I think, that you put your phone in while you're doing your deep work and it goes in there for a certain amount of time. Has anyone got any of those sorts of things that they're using to minimize their digital distractions? Would love you to share that with us and how that's working. Because there's just so many things, that can pop up and bing and buzz and distract us from our good work. But share that if you come up with anything that you're using. And then, of course, we spoke a lot about mindfulness and just being in the present moment and knowing that we're doing this piece of work now. I'm not worrying about the future or the past. I'm doing this piece of work right now. Let's have a look at the chat. Car says, I need a laptop without Wi-Fi. I like it. And need to turn it. I know that I need to turn it off. Knowing that they could track it at work helps. That's a great one. I like that one. Working on the laptop without Wi-Fi, and then you haven't got those distractions. Jade says she turns off notification for each app. Jade, I love it. Perfect. Yep. Turn it off. We don't need to know. And I suppose it's a digital distraction. Unsubscribe from any email. No, every email except mine, maybe. But then again, if it's being annoying, get rid of that as well. We don't need to know all these things coming in. If you want to know the answer to a question, you can go and Google it. You don't need people coming into your inbox and bombarding you with their stuff. So unsubscribe. Unsubscribe from all the big stores that are trying to sell you something. Definitely unsubscribe to them. Even your favorite authors, just get rid of them. It's just so much and too much to be able to track. So that's another rant from me, to be able to unsubscribe from everything. And then your inbox is much easier to look after. Car again says, used to have to record time that she worked on a project. So try and do that for herself personally. Yeah, I get it. If you work for a law firm or accountant or a lot of those places where you're providing a service, you have to allocate your time throughout the day so you can charge it to your client. So great idea to do that for yourself. And then a bit like I have my Sunday planned out, I've got all the other days like that as well. So this is what I'm working at on this particular time of the day. Doreen says, if you can, I know this is not possible for everyone, have a day off. Oh, I like that. Completely off. Acknowledge you deserve a day when you can do anything you want. A mental reset. Beautiful. See if you can squeeze that. No, not see if you can. Put it in the diary. Make that a very important thing to do.
Not everyone can, Jules. I don't have kids.
That
so
is true.
One of those things, it's such a luxury to be able to say, that's it. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And nice for you to acknowledge that. That's so true that not everybody can. Yeah.
No, and sometimes we put that pressure on ourselves, feeling like we're not allowed to switch off, that we always have to keep doing.
Yes.
Especially if you've been brought up to be totally productive all the time. So that's a big step to acknowledge it's okay to stop.
Good on you. I know you're talking to yourself right at the moment. Awesome. Gwen says, I need to unsubscribe from shops and some travel ads. Yeah, I agree with that. Thanks, Gwen, for sharing that. We can have a few things coming in the email, but you can't possibly keep up with them all. So just get rid of them. Leslie says, set up rules for emails you don't need to see, and you can just pop in there. And eventually you can delete them. They automatically delete. I like that one. Nice idea. Those rules are very handy in your email. Let's get going in the summaries. Keep your questions and ideas coming. How are we going? 12 minutes. We are doing awesome. Take strategic breaks. We spoke about that, and Doreen just gave us the permission to have a whole day off for a few hours or some time, because that downtime, and all of the gurus, the business gurus, all of those dudes, Branson, whoever it might be, say that some of their best ideas come from when they're having some downtime. So give yourself a bit of a break, give your brain a break to be able to come up with some awesome new ideas. Good on you. Thanks, Doreen. Yes, Guru Doreen. I love it. Nourish the body and mind. Be very mindful about what we are putting into our bodies to help us with our focus. Sugar and all of those yucky things aren't so good for our focus. Incorporate regular exercise for sharper focus. Set clear goals to help with your motivation and concentration, and prioritize sleep. Really have a good think about this, a sleep routine. Does anybody else have an alarm like I do to go to bed? What time do you go to bed, and how many hours of sleep do you need? I'd love to know, and whether you think that is enough. Do you get enough sleep? Share those ideas as well. All right, so that's the main points that to get through today. Again, we will send the recording out, so have another look back through it. Mary Lou, can you find the blog that goes along with this as well, that you posted a few weeks ago, and post the blog in here as well, because that's got all the same tips, so that we can, again, just have a reference point. Now, Mary Lou, she likes 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Good on you. Car says, thanks for all sharing your ideas and hacks. Thank you. Mary Lou says, sure, she will. She'll get the blog in a second that goes along with this. So you'll have a few different reference points. As I said, take what you can from today and just start with something small, whether it's going to bed earlier to help with your focus, whether it's just doing one thing at a time. You choose the thing that is easier for you to start improving your focus. Hi, Susan. Thank you. She says 6 to 7 hours, sets an alarm to go to sleep and to wake up. Good on you. I love it. So helpful. Okay, in a fortnight, we have, thank you, Mary Lou, there's the link as well for the blog that goes along with this. 2 weeks time, we have a guest speaker, which we haven't had before, Leanne Watson from Amazing Scents, which is an aromatherapy business here in Melbourne. She's going to talk about creating a low tox home. So we're going to be talking about basically decluttering all of the chemicals out of our house, coming up with some great cleaning products, different sprays, different oils. I'm sure she'd have an oil to help us with our focus. We can ask her about that in a fortnight. Mary Lou has just put the link for the workshop, Eventbrite again. Jump on there to register. Register even if you can't make it, because as always, we'll send out the recording. So Leanne's going to come and talk us about a low tox home. So as I said, getting all those chemicals out of the home. 2 weeks after that, we're going to talk about tips for perfectionists, those with perfectionist tendencies to make running a household easier. I see a lot of people when I go in their homes that it's a bit difficult. I might have the right words, but they can get a little bit obsessed with everything being perfect before they can go and sit down and do something, which means they're spending all day cleaning up after everyone, putting the toaster away after everybody. So let's have a think about what are those, again, important things that we want to do in the household to make it running it easier. And let's have a look at that in a month's time. Doreen says, so I'm just jumping backwards and forwards. I'll show you our next workshop after this one in a sec. Doreen says, an interesting article from The Guardian, a long extract from the book called Stolen Focus. It's one of my favorite books by Johann Hari. He's a very funny guy that swears a lot, and why you can't pay attention. It's really an interesting read, Stolen Focus, the whole book. And thank you, Doreen, for sharing that extract from the book. It's a little bit scary sometimes when we know that those big social media people like Facebook, whoever, are spending so much money to make us spend more time on these apps. So we're fighting really hard against those big guys. So any of these techniques we can use are helpful. Thanks, Doreen. And then after that one, we're going to do meal planning made easy. This one was scheduled for 2 weeks ago, and 2 minutes before I was supposed to go live, I heard this funny click and our internet went out. And I couldn't even get my phone. My phone wouldn't even work. There was no data. So I know there was NBN works in the area, but for whatever reason, I had no data as well. I couldn't message Mary Lou to tell her what was going on. So a bundle of people were online waiting for me to do meal planning made easy. So we're going to redo it on the 14th of September. So if you are the main cook in your house, come along and let's make it easier for you. Mary Lou's just put the link to meal planning made easy to register on Eventbrite. So quite a few fun workshops coming up. And as a thank you for today, book a 15-minute strategy call with me by the link Mary Lou's just put in the chat. And let's have a chat about your some other tips or specific tips for you to be more focused, or any other decluttering and organizing questions that we have. 5 minutes, perfect. Has anyone got any final questions to ask? And or what? Tell me, what was your best aha moment from there? And I've just noticed there's a very important pop-up that has come up in my middle of my screen to say that I need to pay wages today. I need to pay Mary Lou. So I will do that in a minute. That is something that's important that should pop up. So you can pick and choose what things pop up and distract you, because I absolutely need to pay my helpers. I can't run the business without them. Yeah, please share your best aha. Was it, yeah, what was it? We'd love to hear. An awesome turnout today. If anyone's got a game, they can turn their cameras on. And can we do a photo, Mary Lou? Have you got the right buttons to push? We can smile. Someone's run away. They thought that was a bad idea. They can say hello. Let's do a smile. The three of us can smile at least. But there, thanks all for coming. All those links there for the next workshops are coming up. Mary Lou will share the recording this afternoon with those links again, if you want to register for them. Any other questions, send us an email, ask us as we're going along. Afterwards, we'd love to have a chat with you, that 15-minute conversation, if you have any specific questions you want to ask. But thank you all for coming. As I said, a few new people today. I'm glad that you made it. And a big gold star to our regulars that have been here a number of times before. Any last thoughts, anyone? Nah, awesome. Thank you all so much and look forward to seeing you. Thanks, Bill. See you all in a fortnight. Bye, Leslie. Thank you. Bye, Gwen. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. That's very kind. Thank you, Zoom user. Not sure who you are, but it's lovely to see you, Zoom user. Awesome. All right, I'm going to turn off the recording. See ya. Stop recording. Yes.